Hey team, how's it going? Here we are, Tuesday night, yet again. Wow, got a busy room already. Who we got here? Beagle Bob, welcome along. Tavo, as always, good to have you here, me. David Tyree, so American, Australian, Kiwi. Chuck Dalton, welcome along, sir. Todd Deny is here too. Well, welcome along, Todd. Good to have you here. Tavo, but it's Wednesday, mate. Only in your corner of the world. Well, your part of the world. Yep. Now, Tavo, Mr. Kiwi is running late. Oh, mate, I was a minute late. You're right. Barry Cooter, it's Friday here. No, it's not. No, it's not. What do we got? Chris Freemas, hey, welcome along, sir. Old timer, what's up, Kiwi? What's up, all you bad actors? Bad actors. There we go. Steve Sadusky, welcome along. Good to have you here, me. There we go. A few of the regular crew in the room. Hey, Barry Cooter, do you have a bit of loose spending money to offload? Chris Freeman, yes, I did get the email. I read it, and that's as far as I got, man. But yeah, it did appear that did indeed happen with PayPal. So yeah, I'll hit you back on email, and we'll figure that one out. Not a big thing, but yeah, little puzzling. But hey, not a big deal. Paul Funk, good evening, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, please do. That would be great. And RIP Kyle Bush. Yeah, that's very tragic. Pretty young guy, really. That's kind of weird for someone to be taken like that. Was presumably pretty darn fit with all his driving, and yeah, it's a little crazy and pretty sad. Mexican Spit, welcome along, sir. How are you? Michael Moore, good Wednesday morning from Brisbane, Queensland. Yes. We've got a few Aussies in the room. What else have we got? Steve Sadusky. I forgot to hit the like button. There you go. Well, you know where to find it, mate. Todd Denier, Charles. So far as I know, it's doing well. I haven't been able to get out of bed today to enjoy it since last week. I've been hurting plus being sick. That's no good, mate. That's no good. Oh, well, I mean, look after yourself, man. You got to get that marlin up and running. Barry Cooter's somewhat on Tavo. They're up to something. Old time. I've been seeing some great old school cars lately. Seen a beautiful 70 or 71 442 today. Yeah, that's a nice car. That's a nice car. It's certainly the time of year for the cars to get out and about, isn't it? Like the weather's good. It's properly warmed up now. There's no doubt about that. It's been pouring with rain a bit here today in Franklin, but warm still. But yeah, we've kind of got a week of weather according to the forecast. Or weather. Everyone's got weather, but rainy weather, I should say. Chavo, Barracuda, VG Pacer Hardtop, Hemi Orange, automatic for sale in Auckland. There you go. There you go. Shouldn't be a problem for a man of Barracuda's means. What's it going for, Tavo? What's one of those worth in NZ today? Chris Freeman, so many down under types here tonight. I'm feeling outnumbered. Paintication. Hey, Mr. Tates, how are you doing, sir? Good to have you here. The famous Kevin Tates. Good to have you here, brother. Steve Sadusky, love the video of that old Chevy pickup 52. What was that? No, that was a 49 pickup, but pretty similar. Beagle Bob, we've been getting rain for the last 3-4 days. I think the rest of the week is supposed to be wet too. Yeah, it's kind of a bit like that. Well, you're pretty close, so yeah, pretty much the same here, I think. Tavo, worth roughly NFI. No, okay. Old timer, they're calling for snow in localised parts of New England this weekend. Not joking, wind chill down here near freezing. Wow. That's crazy. Barracuda, if it's a similar price to the one that's been for sale in Christchurch for 130,000, no thanks. Whew. It's a lot of money, isn't it? It's a lot of money for a VG Pacer hardtop. Because that body shape does not, there's not a strong market for those cars like the Swinger or, the various different names they had for them here, but that essentially that body style, not the Hemi engine. There's this just typically the old slant 6 or a 318, 340 maybe. But yeah, they're certainly not commanding that kind of money, even when you convert the dollar back. So that's probably what's that going to be? 75,000 roughly US, 75-ish. You're not going to get that for a Dart or a Swinger. No. Todd Denio, Chris, the Marlin is up and running. I even got a set of mags and good tyres. Oh, you got those wheels and tyres. Cool. Order new wheel cylinders, brake hoses. Don't trust those items when they're older than I am. Yes, that's probably wise. Paul Funk saw a bunch of MG midgets pass through town, and I forgot just how tiny those cars are. They are really small. Yep, they're little. They're pretty. Wow, I mean, hence the name. Really, when you think about it, they're small in English car terms, and yeah, the name midget is. They're pretty small. Oh, Tavo, his ad is one of those throw me an offer. Yeah, I hate those because people know exactly what they want. If you say, 20 grand, they'll be all butthurt. It's like, well, you asked for an offer. If you knew you wanted, 130 for it, just say so. Yeah, what have we got going on here? What's Mexican speak up to here? A friend of mine is raffling an 82 Beetle, a nice one. I'm going to do a video about it, offering it to my viewers. It's $1,000 pesos, 1,000 pesos per ticket. How much is 1,000 pesos? I think that's like $10 roughly, isn't it? Old timer, when will we see large margin again? Whew. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You will. You absolutely will. There's no worries about that. But just quite when I get to it, kind of the lights at the end of the tunnel as far as getting a couple of these, these long-term projects out of the shop. That red Mustang fastback. And Swiss cheese will be going off to body and paint in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I would say. It's supposed to be this month, but this month is over at the end of the week, and I'm not going to make that one. So I'm going to say 2 to 3 weeks it'll be out the door for body and paint. So fortunately I'm not being a part of that, and the customer's got his own body guy and painter, so it's like woohoo. Off that goes. So then I've got to put it back together again when it's painted, but it's going to give me a little window of room and time in theory. So maybe Marge will see the light of day When does that put us? At the end of June? Maybe July. Maybe July we'll see large Marge again. Granddad's Junk. G'day, Kiwi Brotherhood. Good to have you here, Granddad. Tony. Cool stuff. Tavo, number 74 of 250 built. Ooh. That just has to make it a valuable card, doesn't it? I mean, the one Barracuda's talking about for 130, it's like, I don't know that's that unreasonable. Yeah, 250 built, that's not many. It took the Aussies and New Zealanders, in my opinion, it took Aussies and New Zealanders, Kiwis, a long time to figure out the little pot of gold they were set on with these old Australian muscle cars. And but my goodness, they made up for lost time. But, they're six figures seems to be nothing, really. Six figures just doesn't seem to be a lot of money for an old Aussie classic / muscle car, whatever you want to brand them as. Yeah. Because Freeman's a Mexican spec, so like $60 a ticket. Okay, I really don't know the conversion on pesos to US dollars. Barracuda, I don't understand why there isn't a strong market for 67 to 69 darts. I've always thought they were a beautiful looking car. I agree, but and it's kind of odd. The Mopar guys being the Mopar guys, they're of the big three, Ford, Chevy, and Mopar. The Mopar guys seem to, in my opinion, are prepared to pay the most for their beloved hobby cars. But 67, those A-body cars are just not that well. Excuse me, not that well loved. Hard to explain. Steve Sadusky, your favorite engine, Kiwi, and why? Ooh, my favorite engine. Wow, that's a tough one. That's like my favorite car. It's hard. It really is. I lost my place. Right, there we go. My favorite engine and why? Probably got to say small block Ford, honestly. I mean, the Hemi is like a super special engine, but not that thick on the ground, and very, very expensive. The early Hemis, a high dollar, and a 426 is like huge numbers. I guess the small block Ford for just it's just all round ability. It's a nice compact little engine, makes good horsepower. It's pretty light. It does it ticks a lot of boxes, the small block Ford. That's probably my favorite engine, and probably a little corny. I mean, I'm a Ford guy. Everyone gives me shit about being a Ford guy, and I guess I am deep down. And I don't think I'm just being like blindly loyal. I just think they're a really good little engine. The big block Fords, not so much. I think the small block Ford was the highlight of the Ford lineup. Where are we at? Chris Freemus. Lovely weather here this week, and I'm off from work. Getting chilly down in Grey. Yeah, it probably is getting chilly down in Greymouth. So Chris Freemus, are you working on your hot rod, man? Todd Denier, Granddad's junk, it's going. Sore and sick lately, so basically been in bed. Yeah. Paintucation, what are you sipping tonight? Applejack. Tonight, I'm back on my old faithful, Applejack. Just a nice sipping bourbon. Todd Denier, sipping Corbel and Coke. There you go. See Sadusky, I see large March every time I put on the t-shirt. There you go. Good man. Good man. Tavo, I thought large Marge would have been all done and finished in your spare time, Mr. Kiwi. Yeah, if I had spare time, it probably would have been. Yeah. That Alpine's been soaking up a lot, pretty much all my spare time, and a little bit extra. Really trying to make some headway with that. Mexican speak spare time, always the comedian, Tavo. Exactly. Brad Eastman, late to the party, still got to work. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Chris Freeman. Yeah, off from work. You already said that. Todd and High Gramps don't like the weather this hot. It hit 80 today. Yeah, 80 is fairly warm. Expect 80's hot. Well, it would be for Toddy boy, because it's like the frozen north where he is. They think like minus 40 is not that cold. So imagine how hot 80 must be. Tavo, 80 degrees Fahrenheit is perfect down here. Yeah, 80's pretty doable. You guys would, Mexican speak, you guys would melt here, probably. Probably. Tavo, we call 110, 115 hot. Yeah, you'd go well in Arizona, mate. You'd think that was just perfect. Paul Funk, I would much rather have a 69 Dart over a 69 Charger. That's a big call. I don't know that would be the way I'd see that, but to be honest, a big chunk of that choice would be the difference in the value. $10,000 Dart, $100,000 Charger. I'll go with the Charger. See Sadusky, hey, Kevin Tate's garbage Camaro is looking great. Yeah, it is actually. QCan at QCan8468, Ford 302. Yep. Brad Eastman, Ford 302 or a 350 Chev. If I was going to go with a small block Chev, it would be the 327. Honestly, I think that's a better engine than the 350. Just my opinion. Very Cuda, that Pacer hardtop has been sitting in that car yard for ages. It doesn't even have good paint. They say it's got great patina. Oh, really? The 130K one, wow. QCan, Mopar 446 barrel. Yeah, well, that's a pretty good engine too. Pretty desirable. Mexican speak. Barry Cuda, they want 6 digits and it isn't in nice condition. Or was that another car? No, it's no, from what he was saying, that's the one. That's the $130,000 one. Paintucation, LS large Marge. No. Good Lord. Yeah, I think you're sticking your tongue out, but yeah, you're just trying to stir the pot, he is. There was definitely some engine options bounce around in the head for margin. LS was never even in the same zip code. No. Kiwi Chevy 396. Yeah, that's not a bad engine. That's not a bad engine. Todd and I, my favourite engine is whichever one is running the best at that specific moment, LOO, which is currently my AMC 343. There you go. Chris Phoenix, I have a hot rod. Well, I mean, it's kind of a generic term, isn't it? Like whatever it is you're working on is your hot rod. Whatever your hobby car is your hot rod. Because what have you got? You've got that LeBaron or something, isn't it? Chrysler LeBaron or something, Chrysler like that. I'm trying to remember now. Not what wouldn't necessarily be everyone's idea of a hot rod, but it's your hot rod. AMC 401. Yeah. It's a decent V8. I wouldn't say it was one of the best. Beagle Bob, I've got old granddad 114 on the rocks tonight. Wow. Nice. Very nice. Volfly is in the house, tilts his head quizzically as a piece of meatloaf is slid towards him. Good evening, all. Is that what's on the menu tonight? Is it Volfly, some meatloaf? Mrs. K makes a mean meatloaf, man. It's funny when the kids were younger and they'd have friends over, they would, Murray'd make meatloaf, and you could see the look on the faces of the kids' friends, when they heard meatloaf, it'd be like, ugh. But they'd have hers, and it's like, oh, can I have some more? So she makes a pretty good meatloaf. Barracuda. I'm a Ford guy, but I haven't had many of them. 67 XR Falcon and a Mark 1 Capri. To me, 60s Ford styling is very nice. Yeah, most 60s styling, regardless of brand, is pretty good. It was just a golden era. Late 50s, 60s, and then 70s, they start to lose their way. But the 60s, and honestly, I don't know why, but I think 67 was probably the best year. If you look across all the different makes and marks, 67 just produced some excellent looking cars. If you had to choose a year out of the 60s, I think it's 67. Just saying. Driveway of Mitford Volfly, but does that meatloaf have the catsup coating on it? Catsup? Ketchup? Catsup? What are you talking about? I did not cook tonight. The wife did. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Volfly? And just blink 3 times if she's watching and you can't answer. Okay? Wow, I've got a ways behind already. Volfly, ketchup on top. Wife decided to confuse me tonight. Barracuda, yes, Mexican spec, 135 grand, I think is the price for a car with worn through stone chip paint. Yeah. Yeah, be interesting to see if it sells. Possibly with that kind of money, it would want to be a little bit better condition. Patina's real popular here, but I don't know how it goes over back in NZ. Todd Denier for small block Ford or Chevy 302 for both. Fair comment. That's very accurate. Yeah, both would. Yeah, extremely good motor. Mexican speak Barracuda. The car will probably stay there. I bet they have stories of people offering 150,000 for it, and they said no. Yeah, probably. QCan here in Vermont, skiing was open until the middle of May. Oh, wow. Wow. Chris Freemason. No low ballers. I know what I have. Exactly. Danny Boy, my truck still has a little patina. The rust holes in the bed floor and the arm sweat wear on the inside of the driver's door. Oh, the arm sweat wear. Steve Sadusky, my favourite engine is the Chevy 396, and my everyday build is the Chevy 350. Yeah, the 350s kind of the 327s are just a bit hard to get these days. So yeah, if you're going to build a small block Chevy, the 350s, it's. But yeah, the 327 was just such a little screamer. But yeah, a little thin on the ground these days. Chris Freemaster. So for my hot rods, the starter and the Beetle screwed the pooch the day before I was supposed to take it in for inspection. And the LeBaron, I was right about the LeBaron, needs a steering rack. Both will get sorted eventually. Well, that sounds like a hot rod. Very good. I insist on arm sweat wear in a classic car. It's good to see them driven, though, isn't it? Really, that's where I guess that's how you get that. Beagle Bob, once you start making it faster, it's a hot rod. Doesn't matter much what it is. Very true. I'd agree with that. Mexican speak Barracuda. What have nice ones sold for? I would go there and ask for the price. When they say 135, I would say not the price. Say not the price restored, but how is it? How much is it now? Yeah. Michael Moore, Barra swap. Yeah, I'd love to play with a Barra engine. I really would, but it's just not that practical to do out here. Yeah, but they're a pretty neat engine, those Barras. Charles Dalton, Chuck, odd choice for me. I like small block Chevy, Ford, and Chrysler, but the Buick 3.8 was an incredible engine, tame or turbo. They run forever and do well as both. Yeah, the turbo was kind of ahead of its time, really, and fast. They were fast. Danny Boyd, non-round headlights with a death knell. Okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it. But I get it. There's some logic to that, right? There's some logic to that. Shut up the page again. Charles Dalton, my favourite part of meatloaf is the meatloaf sandwich the next day for lunch. There you go. Andy Nickel, good evening all. Better late than never. Absolutely, Andy. Good to have you here, man. Danny Boyd, Tin Worm has done its thing on my truck. Tin Worm gets to most cars. Volfly, this meatloaf was made with duck eggs. She did a good job. Fancy. Duck eggs. Silver service and all that as well, was it? Very fancy with duck eggs. Chris Freemason, wait, did I just confuse the Kiwi with the whole catsup ketchup debate? Oh, you did, mate. Catsup. Oh, is that just a pronunciation thing? Because we call it tomato sauce in New Zealand. Not tomato sauce, tomato sauce. That's how is the correct pronunciation. Danny Boyd, my mum once made a pizza-flavoured meatloaf and it was good. Pizza-flavoured. Wow, that's different. Andy Nickel, well, I couldn't sleep, so what the hey? So what you're trying to say, there was just absolutely nothing better to do than, so you came here. At least you're here, mate. That's all that counts. Tavo, it's not really expensive when you get a mere four-door Falcon selling for 7 digits. Wow. 7 digits, really? Yeah, actually, a Mexican spec, question mark, $1 million. Yeah, there has been, I don't know how many, I don't think it's a lot, but some of the Falcons have gone, and I've seen it, for $1 million plus. They usually have some racing heritage or background, something that makes a very special car extra very special. It needs some sort of history. That my knowledge of it. Tavo's a lot closer to that subject to me, so he can back up what I'm saying or tell me I'm wrong, which is possible. But yeah, the ones I've seen have had some racing heritage. You know, someone fairly famous driver, not just a nobody driver, but somebody quite famous in Australia and New Zealand. Barry Cooter, those Valiant Pacer hardtops are so rare in New Zealand. I wouldn't know what they've sold for. But if it's anywhere near that price, I wish I hadn't sold mine in 1990. Yeah. No, that's one that got away, man. Whatever. Yeah, there's no way you haven't, missed out on a potential gold mine. Selling at 1990. But who knew in 1990? Like, yeah. Who knew you were going to be able to, put a couple of extra zeros on, in 35 years. The thing that if I could go back, back in time and buy cars, I would go and buy, Australian racer cars, the touring cars, that were used, like ex-Brock or ex-somebody cars. For a while there, they really had minimal amount of value. And you could pick those up, and they're the ones that are now worth the most. It's crazy, but we just didn't know back then. Volfly, meatloaf pizza, how odd. I agree. That is odd. David Tyree, the VG isn't that pricey. There is a 77 Mazda 323 on Trade Me at the moment for 170,000, 120,000. A 77 Mazda 323. Seriously? Wow. It's like the old rear-wheel drive one, isn't it? 77 323? That'd have to be the very first of them, wouldn't it? The rear-wheel drive ones. Good grief. Surely not that much. Wow, that's insane. Barry Cooter, good lord. Yeah, I agree. Todd Deneau, my favourite Buick engines were the 425 nailhead and the 430. Yes, I had a 66 Buick Electra, a two-door hardtop. That had the 425 in it, and I've got a 425 under the bench at work. Just sitting there. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to that. Mexican spec. I know AI lies, but it said this. Valiant Pacer hardtop values generally range from 45 to over 110 Aussie dollars, depending on condition, originality, and specific variant. Was that the right car? Yeah, I think it is. Tavo, when I win Powerball Kiwi, I'll send you an XB van. There you go. With the back filled with barras, looms, and a choice of transmission. Mate, you're a legend. You're a legend. Wouldn't that be something they'd turn up at the doorstep? Yeah, imagine that. Sign here, mister. Okay. Todd, both of my 64 Rivieras had the 425. Were they twin 4-barrel ones or single 4 barrels? They made those 64s. They made them with twin 4s as well. Gave them another 20 or 30 horsepower or something. Mm. It's Mexican spec, yeah. That's a very similar vehicle too, and yeah, this is where they can put a fairly wide number on, and depending on its overall condition, originality, and history. The and history can make a massive difference to the value. Dean Stevenson, like 18.5, has entered the chat. Good to have you here, man. Paul Funk, my old boss's 360/72 Duster ran 12 sevens at the Bandamere. It was such a fun car to drive. I'll bet it was. So it was a 360 stroked out to what, 408 or something? Barracuda. There was only one model of Pacer hardtop. Yeah, they made a few different model Pacers in the four-door sedan, but the hardtop, yeah, no. I've caught AI out a few times being completely wrong about stuff. Dean Stevenson, 7 digits. That's some interbreed. No, it's a GT Falcon with a history and a logbook, is what that is. Todd Denio, Volfly, the 430 became the 455. Yep, I can't remember the bore and stroke, but they had balls and would wind out pretty well, plus torque monsters. Yeah, Buick always built torque monsters. They did. 425 had bags of torque too. Volfly, I was thinking they used a 3.5 stroke with huge pistons. Yeah, not sure. Oh, shut up. The page again. God dang it. There it is. I'm not too far behind. Mexican spec. I have hard enough time understanding the market here. The market over there hurts my head. Oh, yeah, the market here can be tough too. I had a car and I didn't do a video on it because it was such a piece of shit. I had a 69 big block Mustang fastback, like a Boss, allegedly a Boss. 428 automatic. And it was an absolute POS. It really was. Everything you touched didn't work, and when you tried to fix that, there was something else. It was layered. It was like an onion. The more you fixed, the more shit was wrong with it. And I just did what he had it booked in for and sent it back because I did not have time to do everything that car needed. And it had been drag raced, and had a massively high stall converter and a reverse gate automatic, and the guy didn't like that. The power steering didn't work. He wasn't happy with that. There was all sorts of stuff that it needed doing, and it drove horribly. It had 20-year-old tires on it. It was just a mess. He paid $50,000 for it. $50,000, and it needed quite a bit more than that spent on it. So yeah, that's hard to understand. Tavo, most of the real collectors are race-driven ones are in one shed in Queensland, Mr. Bowden's place. A friend of mine has one of Leo Gagan's VG Pacers. Leo Gagan, that's a name I remember. Wow. Yeah, the man who was smart enough to buy up all the old race cars has made a lot of money. Sounds like Mr. Bowden was one of them. Barracuda, and another that got away was an HQ Holden Monaro with a 400 Chev and a 4-speed manual. I sold that for $8,400 in 1988. That'd be worth a bit more than that today. Yes, a bit. Another zero easy. Easy, I'd say. Volfly. Here it is. Buick's 430, bore and stroke, 4.1875. So 4 3/16 by 390, 390 stroke. Sounds about right. Q-Can sold my blue 70 GDX 446 back in 2001. Dumbest thing I ever did. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't at the time though. People beat themselves up about that stuff, but like you really just weren't to know. But yeah, if only you could go back and you wouldn't. You'd have a big shed. That's the thing. If you went back, you'd need a big shed. A big shed. Todd to know, my 69 Electra 225 had the 430. Yeah, got great mileage and had an amazing top end since it had 256 gears in the rear end. Yep, sounds a lot like mine. Mine was a 66, and that was the last of the nailhead. 67, they went to like the 430. But yeah, they had massively tall gears. It was be doing like 60 mile an hour. It was doing about 1,300 RPM. It was crazy. It was very, very tall geared, but still went well. Chris Freemaster, AI, wrong about stuff? Say it isn't so. I can't say it isn't so. Dean Stevenson, I'm really enjoying having Mrs. Ecstasy back from her long holiday overseas. She was in Auckland with her wicked sisters. Auckland's a wicked place, mate. Barracuda, how wicked are they, Dean? Told you know, a guy who bought my 63 Dodge 440 four-door picked it up last week. Huh? You've probably heard me mention I had a 63 Dodge 330 when I was a teenager. Right-hand drive, 318 poly push button. Poor fun. 388 cubic inches, I think. Purple cam, iron heads, and 4-speed with 411 gears. Wow. That'd be a fun car. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Where are we up to? Oh, there it is. To a bigger Bob. I think I'm going to have to sign off early tonight, guys. Should be back next week. Cheers. Thanks for dropping in, man. Always good to have you here. Michael Pagliarini. Evening. Hopefully I'm still saying that right. Evening all. Memorial Day weekend was a washout for the vets ceremony. Yeah. So I got my wheelhouses welded in. Good for you, man. Good for you. Chris Freemason. Dean Stevenson, you realise that wicked means something different here in the Northeast, right? I have a feeling he knows that, yes. Like Granddad's junk, they go to nowhere, country of the Jaffa. Mexican spec, the POS videos do the best, Kiwis. Yeah, they do, but and I kind of wanted to do a video on it, but the guy, he was not like on board on having the problems of that car pointed out. He was a bit of an odd dude, and that wasn't gonna fly. So yeah, it was one of the situations where it was best to move that customer on, and let him find a different shop. He was going to be a problem. Dean Stevenson, her sisters are sweet and very uber cool. Oh, look at that. So he was meaning wicked good, I guess. Dean Stevenson was. Dean Stevenson, so the fact that wicked can mean awesome here fits. Nice how things work out in the end. Todd Denier, my Buick 425 or single 4-barrel, 340 horse, 465 torque. Yeah, my 430 was 360 horse and either 475 or 510. Wow. Depending on who you ask. Wow, that's a serious bit of torque. Yeah, I think the twin 4-barrels were 360 horse, if memory serves me right, but I can't remember the torque. Dean Stevenson, you could take them out at night and they'd never tell. Volfly, struggling to stay awake after meatloaf. Oh, good grief. You old man, you. Yeah, it's only 7:48. And it can't be that different time zone where you are, bud. Mexican speak. Did your wife make it with NyQuil? Maybe she wanted to shut him up. Who knows? Todd Denier, Volfly, those 430s would rev. Steve Sadusky, Kiwi, when are you going to have Kevin T join you on one of your lives again? That's a good question. If he's still here, Kevin, are you still watching or have you stepped out? I'm not sure. I haven't seen him comment for a little bit. Yeah, need to do that again. That was we had some technical difficulties, which seem to be on top of these days, which is nice. So yeah, it'd be good to get him back again for sure. I will be seeing him later this week. So he's coming to pick up some body parts, a hood and stuff for that red Mustang Fastback. He's going to paint those. So I will ask him then. How about that? I think it's a trap. Mexican spec. A trap, I say. Could be. Maybe she just wants to be left alone for an evening, just... who knows? Tavo, Mr. Bowden has Alan Moffat's Boss Mustang, but not Alan's GDHO. He does have Fred Gibson's equivalent factory team Falcon. Very nice. High dollar cars. Chris Freeman, that's funny. Have the meatloaf tested for Cosby sauce. That took me a moment. I had to reread that Cosby sauce. Oh, then the penny dropped. Like, yeah, that's pretty funny. I think it's the eggs. My egg tolerance may be kicking in. Not sure. Oh, really? Sure, it wasn't laced with alcohol or something. Barracuda. Many years ago, I went with a friend for a test drive in a 59 Oldsmobile 98 Coupe. Nice car with 394 and automatic. An absolute torque monster. Oh, yeah, they were. Absolutely, they were. Nope. Dean Stevenson, now church mice is compared to Mrs. Ecstasy. Oh, wow. Okay. Volfly, if I eat eggs directly, it makes me lethargic all day. Oh, wow, that's weird. Huh. Todd Denier, those older lecturers went great because they had the torque to push those tall gears. Yeah, well, a torquey engine likes a tall gear, doesn't it? So, it gives them time to push hard. David Tyree, a bottle of rum has the same effect on me. I imagine it would do, yeah. A bottle of rum would put me to sleep too. Michael Pagliarini. I still own my first car. Wow. My father and myself restored it during high school while driving it every day. 68 Chevelle SS 396 Auto. Yeah, well, don't sell that, mate. Don't sell that car. No. That's very cool. But, You still own your first car, man. I'd love to be able to say that. I'd love to be able to say that, and I'd love to be able to say I still had a car that me and my dad worked on. That would be, yeah. Whatever you do, don't sell that. Sell a kidney before you sell that thing. Josh Homan, good to have you here, man. Todd and I, Chris, the 425 dual cod was 360 horsepower. It's still rated at 465 torque, which doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't really, does it? Makes you wonder if they're hypothetical numbers. Because horsepower is just torque times RPM. So maybe if it revved harder with the same torque, maybe it just is let it rev a little harder. Yeah, because horsepower is torque times RPM times whatever that multiplication factor is. So maybe it just gave it an extra 500 RPM or something, which boosted up the horsepower. Not sure. Okay, Dean Stevenson, what are you talking about? Josh Homan, 0.5 equals 1. Yeah, I give up. It's math. I'm out. Dirk McGinley, I may be working with the Brits again. God and baby Jesus. What are you going to be doing with the Brits? Fly's out. He's gone. Chris Freemus of Volfly, sounds like you need to get yourself checked out for sleep apnea. Mexican spit. Best you never ask what Dean is talking about, I've learned. There you go. There you go. Paul Funk, I always thought it would be cool to put a Buick Stage 1 455 into an Olds Vista Cruiser wagon with a 4-speed. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. That was a monster motor, that Buick Stage 1 455. That was a serious motor. I don't know. I wish I had my first two cars. First was a 55 Ford Ranch wagon. Not a bad old car. Second was a 78 Ford LTD Sport 2. Sport, two-tone green, same as on the sales brochure. I swapped a built 460 Police Interceptor into it. Went awesome, I would think. Cool cars. Volfly, she tricked me with the sneaky meatloaf. She's gone off to laugh at me and finish setting the rest of the trap in the bedroom. Oh, well, don't expect too much sympathy if you're getting trapped in the bedroom, mate. I can only imagine what her sense of humour might be like, given your shall we say, quirky sense of humour. Good sense of humour, but a little quirky. So I wonder what Mrs. Volfly's sense of humour is like. Interesting stuff. Chris Freemus, a Mexican spec. True that. My Dinglish translator is down. Can't find the requisite 9-volt lantern battery for it anyway. Mexican spec. My first car was in the backyard under a carport. She moved herself, and I don't know how. I will do a video on it soon. Isn't that like a... Do I remember? I seem to remember it being like a 63 Plymouth. Fairly early 60s Plymouth, if I remember rightly. I might be wrong. Mexican spec. There are no Camping World stores near you. Barracuda, how about the Pontiac 421? Yes, another good engine. Paul Funk, Buick 455 weighs 100 pounds less than a 454. That's significant, isn't it? Paul Funk, Jay Leno just released video on his 5. His 5? 50 something. It looks like he got cut off maybe. Let's see if we pick out. 428 powered 428 2+2. That'd be nice. Okay, that's Mr. Leno. He got some cool cars, hasn't he? Barracuda, help me. Yes, that's a reference to The Fly. Mexican spec, 63 Plymouth Fury. I thought it was a 63 Plymouth. She's Christine's little sister and they have the same attitude problem. There you go. Todd Deniro, Barracuda. My brother had the 421 Super Duty and 4-speed in his 65 Bonneville convertible with the 8-lug wheels. Oh, man. Such a cool car. That's a pretty desirable car. Chris Freemasson. Sorry, I was testing out my Star Trek transporter and the settings were a little off. Dean Stevenson, Mrs. Vole will be epically amazing if she has to cope with Mr. Superfly's Svengali ability to make the automobile conform to his wishes. She'll be a true switch. Barracuda, I ate maggots once. I may have already mentioned that. You did already mention that, buddy. Yeah, thanks for reminding that, bringing that picture back that I didn't really need. But hey, it's all good. Wildlife flinches. Yuck. Mexican speak. Mrs. Speak is making my dinner. Please don't. Chris Freemason, Barracuda, do not start with your culinary oddities or I have to find an unsubscribe button to it. He does have some weird food choices, doesn't he? Paul Funk, those big wheels, 8-lug wheels were really cool. I think some Pontiac had some really cool cars in the 60s. Yeah, they really did. There were so many cool cars in the 60s. Yeah, a buddy of mine, Doug Anderson, he's I think he's 81 now, comes into the shop quite regularly, shoots the breeze about all the good old days. And I said to him, what was it like in the 60s? Was it really kind of all like American graffiti and good times and, you know, like how cool was it then? And he said the 60s were just the best. Yeah, he was a relatively young man at that point, but old enough, you know. So what, if he's 81 now, what's that going to make him? Born in 1940. So, yeah, he was in his 20s in the 60s. So, yeah, he said that was just a great time to be alive. And I suspect it was. You know, cars were affordable. Cars were, you know, the horsepower wars were like really hitting their stride, and would have been a good time to be around, I think. Mexican spec, time to go. All right, well, hey, thanks for calling in, man. Thanks for being here. It's always fun. So, yeah, take it easy. Josh Homan, I must have a stronger stomach. I'm eating just fine right now. Yeah, well, yeah, don't get Barracuda started. That might change. Mexican spec, Paul Funk. Best looking 60s car was the 66 Grand Prix in black. Hard to argue that. Very, very good looking car. Jeff Griff, I have a culinary degree. Cool. Is that what you're doing for a crust? No pun intended. These days. Todd and I, thanks Barracuda so much for eating right now. Kind of ruins the appeal of white rice. Oh, yeah. You guys are all as bad as each other. Ah. Barracuda, don't worry, I've decided to be well behaved this evening. Oh, there you go. Josh Homan, maggots can't be pleasant to eat though. Well, I'm going to assume they're not, but I'm not ever going to put it to the test. So there you go. Culinary degree means you know how to make sauces from scratch. Well, yeah, that's one of the things. Oh, Barfly doesn't make sauces. Chief Griff and a lot more, yes, and a lot more. Barfly, yep. I did, however, pick up a book on making sauces. Just need to find the time. Right, isn't that just getting harder and harder to find though? Time. Oh, Todd to know. My mum had a '66 Pontiac Catalina 9-passenger wagon with a 389. I love an old wagon like that. I mean, that's why I like Marge, but yeah, like that would be one to own as well. I don't know, the Pontiac, the Catalinas and stuff like that were just so much cooler than an Impala, a '66, '67 Impala. They were nice cars, the Impala. I mean, they weren't bad cars, but the Pontiac was just better. That grill on them, that unique Pontiac grill was just awesome. And the tail lights were usually nicer. Um, you could see the DNA match between the Pontiac and the Chevy, but Pontiac just dressed them up so much nicer. But that's kind of me. See, I think like a '67 Firebird's nicer than a '67 Camaro. What they sell for doesn't reflect my opinion, but I can't help my opinion. It is what it is. Chris Freemason, Jeff Griff, how do you make Tom R toe sauce from scratch? Asking for a friend. Yeah, lots of tomatoes would be my first guess. Jeff Hutchins, Mexican spec. The 68, 69 Chargers were the best looking. I'm not. Yeah, I do like the 68, 69 Charger. I'd have a Roadrunner. I'd have a 69 Roadrunner. If you said you want a Charger or a Roadrunner, I'd go with the Roadrunner. Funny, isn't it? Just people like different things. So the Charger looks like a very heavy car to me. And I don't actually know what it weighs, and I'm not really talking about literally how many pounds it weighed. It just looks heavy. The Roadrunner didn't look as heavy. Just looked like it would be more agile. And I'll be honest, I've driven a Charger, not in anger though, only just quietly. So I'm not driven the two cars to know if one does feel lighter than the other, but I don't know. I just like the styling of the 69 Roadrunner better. Barracuda question: if you bought the Pontiac with those 8-lug wheels, how difficult would it be to convert to normal 5-lug? I can't think of one 8-lug aftermarket wheel. No, I don't think there are any. There might have been back in the day, back in the late '60s. There might have been somebody making them, but that not today. No, I don't think it would be that hard. No, I don't think it would be very hard to change them. Vilefly, I'm still fond of my Vincent Price cookbook. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Actually, I remember him doing a cooking thing. That's crazy, isn't it? I hadn't thought about that in forever. Gene Turner, high school senior, 1970, had a new 375 horse 396 Chevelle in Santa Clara, California. Tony. Yeah, well, yeah. Lucky you, all I can say. Um, High school senior with a 375, three and three quarter Chevy, 396. Wow. Um, yeah, you must have to fight the girls off with a stick, I imagine, with that car. Um, Chris Freemasser, I do seem to recall that he was quite the cook. Yeah, he was. Volfly, he liked to steal recipes from famous restaurants also. Good lord. Huh. Todd and I, 66 Catalina 9 passenger wagon, 389 is one of the very few I would ever consider trading the Marlin for because of sentimental reasons. Oh, yeah. That'd be a hard car to find today, wouldn't it? Well, I mean, I know the Marlin is, but that Catalina 9 passenger wagon with the big block in it, that'd be a hard car to find. Jeff Griff, 77 Trans Am Smoky Edition, Smoky and the Bandit Edition, my favourite. Yeah. I mean, very famous car. It was a good looking car. They weren't the fastest thing in '77, though, were they? Really, if we're honest, they were drowning in smog shit and everything. And I think they were only a 400, weren't they? 6.6 liter. So they weren't necessarily quite as fast as they appeared in the movie. Paul Funk, when I was a kid, I had a customer with a 69 GDO. He bought new and ordered every available option: power windows, door lock, so on. I always wondered what happened to that. Paul Funk, he must be down the page. Yeah, continuing to write, that's cut off. Perry Cooter, I do a Peter Law impression, but I haven't tried Prince and Price yet. That's going to be hard to do over the live. Yeah, it might lose something in the conversion, I suspect. Todd and I, to convert from 8 lug to 5 lug is easy. Rears were just getting 5 lug brake drums and wheels, front end 5 lug hubs, drums and wheels. Yeah, it's just bolt on stuff. I'm pretty. I assumed. Volfly, I think the grogginess is wearing off. Yeah, just get someone to give you a shot of adrenaline, mate. You'll be fine. David Tyree, then you need more grog. Well, this is true. Frith Freemason. Maybe it's the sugar from the catsup tomato sauce kicking in. That's actually a pretty good way of writing it out. Tomato. Yes, that's exactly right. Top to know, Barry Cooter, I figured you as a Boris Karloff, more of a Boris Karloff type. God, I remember that name, Boris Karloff. Yeah, he was like a horror movie actor, wasn't he? Jeff Griffiths, okay, I drive slow. There you go. Jeff Hutchins, I have a 52 Willys 1 ton 4-wheel drive pickup, 34 F head 1 barrel. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. 72 screaming horse. 72 screaming horsepower. We rebuilt it, bought it 30 over. I think we bumped it up to 74 horsepower, but it made up for it by getting 10 miles to the gallon. Good grief. Firefly, I have caffeine pills just in case, but I don't want to be that awake. Todd and I on the 8-lug wheels, the rear 5-lug axles were already there. The 8 lugs were just the brake drums with the 8 lugs on the outside edge. Okay. So two bolt patterns effectively. Barracuda, my best impression of it is of James Mason. James Mason? James Mason, Lolita quote. No, I don't know who that is, mate. Tavo, meant to mention the stepson and son-in-law made their way here to help assemble the project car for disposal. They looked it over and refused. Oh man, that sucks. It sucks that you're going to get rid of it. Is it really? I guess. Yeah, that's a shame, mate. That's a shame you're not going to be able to finish it. Wow, too much for the young fellas, eh? Young bucks, they got no staying power. Chris Freemercy, you know who James Mason was. You just need to put the name to the face. Probably, yeah. I've got a faint picture of someone, but I might be. I think I'm thinking of James Cagney. James Mason. I'll have to Google it and see. Firefly, was he in North by? Wow, you guys are showing your age, man. North by Northwest. I know that name of a movie, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Steve Sadusky, a lot of great body styles from the 60s, from Ford, Chevy, Dodge, etc. Yeah, I really think that was the best era for design. And just cool, like just oozing cool factor and factory hot rod factor. And yeah. Oh, we're quoting lines out of movies now. Firefly Games, Mr. Kaplan, must we? Chris Freemesser. I'm legit wondering if I'm the youngest person in this chat and I'm 57. Mate, I don't know. You're younger than me. I know that. Todd Deno of Firefly, I think that was Jimmy Stewart. God, great. Barry Cootie, you're onto it, Firefly. David Tyree, Journey to the Centre of the Earth, like the original one. I'm pretty sure I've seen the original one. Paul Funk, 67 to 70 were my favourite body styles. Yeah, I stand by 67 as being the best single year for American cars. I really think 67 is it. And that's across all of them, not just necessarily the big three. Yeah, so many. Todd Denier, I'm 55. Okay. So Todd's got the low at the moment. Beagle Bob's definitely younger than that. Because I've met Bob, Beagle Bob called into the shop, and yeah, he's a young fella. Not young really, but young compared to us. He's probably, I'd say, Beagle Bob's probably late 30s, maybe 40, around-ish. But he ain't here to confirm, so. But he was, so. Jeff Hutchins, Roadrunners were lighter as they they're decontented. But the same chassis. Oh, really? The same chassis. Okay. The wheelbase was like 2 inches shorter on the Plymouth, and pretty much all chassis, definitely the B&E bodies. Okay. Yeah, as I say, they're not my favourite because they were 323 pounds lighter or whatever the number was. It's just they look, um, they just look to me a bit more aggressive and not quite so overweight. But it's really just body shape, not facts and figures. For all I know, they could have been heavier, honestly, but they just looked better. Tavo, instead, they're determined to come up other times and follow direction to finish building it as I intended. Oh, that's awesome, bud. That's great. That's cool. I thought they just went no and turned their backs on it and said, see you later, pops. But okay. That'll be cool. That'll be cool. Man, if you're a bit closer, I'd come and give you a hand. I swear I would. But it's a long way. Phil Dodge Fury. Hi, all listening at work. Have a great evening. Oh, cool, man. Good to have you here. Paul Funk, I'm 58, soon to be 59, and I'm close to needing a nap. Jeff Hutchins, 52. Got your beat. There you go. Barry Cooter, 57. Just a boy. Volfly, I'm still fond of the Hammer Studios films. Gosh, I remember that name too, Hammer Studios. Yeah, very cool. I remember that. It's stuff that I haven't even not forgotten, but haven't thought about in decades. Todd Denial Volfly, I guess my old age and senility are kicking in again. Volfly 55, David Tyree 64. Fly not to worry, we'll make AI to make up the slack. Todd Denial, I think I'm 55 going on 97. Well, that sucks. Barry Cooter, but I think I'm a little bit younger than Kiwi. Mate, I'm 64. 65 in August. I'm supposed to be retiring, but yeah, I don't see that happening. Well, back in the good old days, people retired at 65, didn't they? Not anymore. Volfly, well, my body still works. Well, there you go. That's the main thing. Maybe that's why you got laced meatloaf tonight. Mrs. Volfly was wanting to take advantage of him. Volfly, lucky bastard. David Tyree, yeah, Todd and I'm 64 going on 16. Yeah. I'm not sure about 16, 64 going on. I mean, I still feel like I'm in my 30s, honestly, in my head. Still in my 30s. Volfly, I haven't abused my body like my younger brother has. He's a bit more manic. Yeah, that's where I'm paying. I've used this body pretty hard. But I had fun. So, Tavo, thanks, Kiwi. I do need someone who can weld. Son-in-laws can sort of. Still in two minds. Lost a lot of interest in it, and the dollars would be handy. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Sometimes needs must, as they say, and yeah. But yeah, it sucks to be sort of so close and yet so far. Volfly did the fireman thing. Now he has more repair work than my car. Oh my lord! Yeah. Chris Freeman said, just asked AI how old I was, and it told me I was told me a quarter teaspoon of turmeric goes well with Savaloys. I'm at a loss. Oh, I don't know about turmeric and Savoys, mate. But that's pretty funny. Brad Eastman, just a youngin at 49. Oh, man. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I remember being 49 and being mortified at the thought of being 50. I was not happy. Um, yeah. And then I blinked, had a couple of early nights, and I was 64. Good Lord, where did it go? Jeff Hutchins, I knew a guy who did VIP protection back in the 90s. He had a late 80s up armoured Caprice Classic with armoured limousine underpinnings, which were 8-lug hubs and wheels. If you look under the something, where is that? Under the hubcaps on armoured GM limos, they have 8-lug wheels and much heavier suspensions. The presidential limos are now built on GM Duramax truck chassis. That sounds about right. Tavo, I retired before official age. Half regret it, but either way, I'd be where I am now regardless. Yeah. Granddad's chunk. 49. Your mum's still wiping your nose, lol. Good Lord. Yeah. Barracuda, I was in my mother's tummy in 63, but my first appearance was on the 13th of February, 64. Yeah, you got me by a few years, or I've got you by a few years, I should say. Yeah. Todd Denier, Chris, you can't retire. All of us need you to keep going. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, I'll be hanging in there for a while yet, mate. I don't feel. Some days I feel like it'd be nice to retire, and the rest of the time, it's like, nah, I got shit to do, cars to build, and fun things to do. So, yeah. Chris Freemason, no joke. In 24 hours, I'll know whether I'm retiring at 60 or retiring now. Will be an interesting meeting. Wow, yeah, indeed. Oh, Lord, I've got itchy nose tonight. Don't know why. Oh, I know why. I've been working on carbon fibre today. That's what it'll be. Doing the hood on that red Mustang, and he got himself a carbon fibre Shelby style hood scoop, and I've been grafting that onto the metal hood. So yeah, much dust and carbon. All my arms are itchy down here from the carbon fibre. So I hate that shit. David Tyree, Tavo, I can weld and I'm a bit closer. Yeah, you are a bit closer. Valfly, what my brother got to try out here, however, was stem cell treatment. His rotator cuffs are like new, he says. Wow, really? Wow. Yeah, that's pretty crazy stuff, that stem cell treatment. Barracuda, the government in New Zealand is starting to talk about the need to put the retirement age up to 73. Good Lord. Wow, that's a jump. Is it 65 in New Zealand still? And they're talking about going 8 years? Wow. Paul Funk, I can weld, Tavo. Hell, I've welded on old Mopars, which is like trying to weld 2 pop cans together. Well, that's what Tavo's got, mate, is an old Mopar. It's just an Aussie one. Todd Denier, Jeff, those were a different type of 8-lugs wheels than the Pontiacs use. Those were truck-style 8-lugs. Okay. Pontiacs were not. Oh, my Lord, this is so annoying. Volfly, his knees got fixed the same way, raised a few eyebrows for sure. Yeah, I'll bet. Jeff Hutchins, the Beast is the US presidential limo, armoured all over, super thick glass, all custom body. Oop, yeah, keep it up again. All custom body from scratch, one-ton GM Duramax truck chassis, Not sure is two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. Probably all-wheel drive. Probably, yeah. So Josh Homan, so technically the presidential limousines are trucks. Well, they've got to have so much armouring on them, just a regular car can't carry it. Just can't. Todd Denial Volfly, I wish they would allow that here in the USA. Yeah. Volfly insurance companies are just finally learning that stem cell therapy can save them money. Yeah, well, that'll change things a lot, won't it? When they finally get that memo. Volfly, it was in the USA, Kansas City. Yeah. No. Granddad's joke. Chris Freeman said, don't worry, move over here. Got enough work for a couple of lifetimes. There you go. The invite's been made official, Mr. Freemason. You can become an honorary Kiwi. Jeff Hutchins, Todd Denial, yeah, those had the lugs on the brake drum, standard suspension. Yeah, the Pontiac 8 lug was a massive bolt pattern. It was like, yeah, like they literally, the bolts were around the perimeter of the brake drum. Chris Freeman agreed as Jane. Don't think I'm not tempted to do so. There you go. Tavo, 67 in Oz, and that nearly caused a riot when it went up from 65. They did intend taking it to 70. Well, I mean, it all depends how you look at it. The reality is, I remember my granddad retiring at 65, and I don't know whether it was because it was through my young eyes at the time, but I remember him at 65, he looked like a pretty old man. And that just is saying maybe because I was literally a kid, not even I don't think I was even a teenager. I might have been 10 or 12 or something like that. And I remember him retiring and just thinking, wow, he's really old. But 65, yeah, today certainly doesn't seem very old. But that's probably the fact that I'm almost 65 makes me say that. Michael Pagliarini, looking for that exit door myself, been turning a wrench for 41 years this August. It's a long time, man. It's a long time. It's hard on the body, isn't it? And I know, the last few years I've noticed I'm just not as strong as I used to be. Not drastically different, but just not able to hit it as hard for as long anymore. Volfly, for a time, Todd, he got it done somehow. Good on him. Sergeant Mustang, hey Kiwi, where'd he go? He shot up the page. Our team. Here he is. Hey Kiwi, about to reassemble the front suspension on my 61 Chrysler with new bushings. Any advice on how to find approximate ride height position before tightening so they don't preload? Good question. How would you do that? So the suspension arms are all in, like the suspension's assembled. You just have got the torsion bars backed off. Because if that's the case, you could just put it on a floor jack and just jack it to the height to eyeball the approximate ride height and then tighten the bushings up there. But if you've got the arms and bushings on the bench, that's going to be tricky. I need a little bit more parameters on the question. Steve Sadusky, I'm not old, I'm only 61. Just a pup. Just a pup. Chris Freeman, Tavo. So does the Aussie government give you a pension once you reach their specified retirement age? I don't know. In the Aussie, Tavo should be able to answer that. Barracuda, good thing is I've still got thick hair and it's still light brown. Still got all 100 teeth. 100 teeth? Good Lord. Todd and I, if they would allow stem cell treatment here and my insurance would cover it, I would do it. Yeah, I bet you would. I'd give it a try too. Volfly, the first time he had it done under the table and bone marrow was extracted with only a local anaesthetic. Ow. Damn. Full anaesthetic would have alerted the insurance company. Wow. Bone marrow extracted with it. Wow. That's one tough mofo. That's a lot, man. That's a lot under local because, local doesn't get that deep. Wow, that's wild. Well, here's Tavo answering Chris Freeman. So if you qualify, we have a minimum residential status, means and asset test apply. Yeah, you've got to be a resident and have been for some years, I think, like maybe 5 years or something like that. They got a few rules and regulations. But you can take your American pension over to Aussie and your dollar, over to, Australia or New Zealand, I think. And then obviously that's worth a lot more, with the exchange rate. David Tyree, Chris, wouldn't your granddad have retired at 60? The retirement age went up to 65 a while after we started work. That's a good question, David. It could have been. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. My memory tells me 65, but I didn't know that the retirement age was ever 60, so I might have just been putting that number on it because that's all I knew. I didn't realise you'd retired in New Zealand at 60. Huh. Wow. He looked old if he was 60, he looked old for 60. Good Lord. Chris Freeman says, Savloys, of course. What else could I possibly be referring to? Volfly, trying to remember the place that does the stem cell therapy. Yeah, well. Jeff Hutchins, I saw a thing where they showed old actors when they were in their late 40s and they looked like they were in their 60s. They mostly blamed it on that everyone smoked cigarettes back then. Interesting. I don't remember whether I don't think my granddad smoked, which would have been a bit unusual back then. A lot of people smoked back then. Paul Funk, put a floor jack under the lower control arm and jack the car up to where the car is off the jack stand or lift arm and then tighten the bolts. There you go. Barracuda, I resemble Carly Simon. Interesting. That's interesting. Which part of Carly Simon do you resemble? Michael Pagliarini, you probably know by name one of the places I worked for, Tasker Ford. Oh, wow, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I know. I've heard of Tasker Ford, a big high-performance group. Involved Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center, I think. Wow. Carly Simon still looks good for age. I haven't seen her for a long time. I wouldn't know what she looked like today. Sergeant Mustang, I've got the whole front suspension off and disassembled, but I will be putting it all back together soon. What order do you recommend doing it in? Oh, it doesn't really matter what order you put the suspension back together. Really. But as you say, tightening up those bushings when it's at ride height is a good idea. Apart from being less stress on the bushings, the car will actually ride better. I'd just get it back together, get it sitting at ride height without the torsion bars in, or the torsion bars wound up, and get everything cinched down. That's going to be tricky to get under it. Alternatively, you can put it up on stands and then also jack the suspension arms up to, the required height, as long as you're reasonably close, because the ride height's always changing. How many people you've got in it, how much gas you got in it, you're towing something, you're carrying something. So it's not like down to the last eighth of an inch or something. Just somewhere with the lower arms approximately close to. Get comfortable. Approximately close to ride height and lock it down. The bushings get tightened. Onto the pivot pin ahead of time. Okay, it's the time I tighten the pivot pin. That locks the bushing, I think. Pivot pin to the frame. I'm not sure, but haven't done a lot of those old Mopars. Haven't even had the suspension completely apart in March, to be honest with you. I've got to do bushings in March, so I guess I'm going to find out for sure. But it sounds like it might be a slightly different process than what I'm thinking, to be honest with you, bud. Barracuda, and I think she has all her 100 teeth too. She does have a big mouth, doesn't she? Tavo, 10 years permanent residency. Wow. And within that 10 years, 5 years straight without leaving the shores. Wow. More than about 300,000 in assets or earnings, more than 150 a week from memory, the pension reduces. That's some bullshit, isn't it? More than 300,000 in assets. I mean, 300,000 is just not much these days. Not many places in Aussie you can buy a house for 300 grand. I'm sure they're around. Aussie's a big place. If you lived in Sydney, you can't buy an outhouse for 300,000. I know you don't live in Sydney, Tavo, but probably where you live is. But 300,000 is. That seems artificially low. I don't know what the median house price is in Aussie, but I know in New Zealand it's $1 million. The average house price in New Zealand is $1 million. So to start penalising you for having paid your home off on the heavily taxed money that you earn, and then to reduce your pension because of it, that sucks. Ooh, we're talking politics. Firefly, smoking has determined the Surgeon General is hazardous to your health. Chris Freeman, Satavo. So what does their retirement age actually mean? You can't retire before then? Here you can retire whenever you want. There's no official retirement age. Well, I guess most countries you can retire whenever you do want. You just got to be able to afford it, don't you? Firefly, the business of stem cell therapy is finally taking off. I have to ask Mrs. K about that. That's kind of her, not stem cell, but medical. She's corporate medical. So Todd denied a wildfly. We have to start checking into it again. Last time I checked was quite a while back, and they had already been banned. Tell you what, Todd, if there's money in it, it won't be banned for very long. If they can make good money at it, then it'll be a happening thing. Tavo, driver of misfits. You can retire at any age here as long as you can fund it yourself, yeah, which includes using superannuation if over 60. Primary home is excluded from that 300k Kiwi. Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Yes, but if you've got secondary homes over 300, that's acceptable. Granddad's junk. Remember Jacinda Ardern, every time she smiled, she resembles Mr. Ed. Yes. I wonder where she's gone. Tavo Jacinta. Yeah. She was not a pretty woman. Not a pretty woman, but hey. Paul Fink, the government has just spent $1 billion on a study on smoking, and they concluded that smoking does make you look cool. Oh my God. Yeah, could anything be further from the truth? Not in my book, it doesn't anyway. No, smoking does not. I see a female, like an attractive female, and it's like, oh, geez, and then she's smoking. It's like, ugh. It just like hits that off button immediately. David Tyree, Granddad's junk. I deem that an insult to Mr. Ed. Yes, could be a little harsh on Mr. Ed, yeah. Driveway of Misfits, Granddad's junk. I read Jacinta is living in Australia now. I heard she came stateside for a while. Jeff Hutchins, cancer causes smoking in California. Good grief. Tava, my little girl was shocked when I told her she looked like Roger Taylor from Queen in the 70s. Her man tried to hide his laugh while nodding in agreement. That's a good way to get yourself in your daughter's good books, Tavo. Roger Taylor from Queen. I'm surprised she knew who he was. Chris Freeman, so I was using the American spelling. Yeah, okay. Nice try. Oh, Barry Cooter. If Jacinda isn't a pretty woman, how do you rank Helen Clark? Well, my answer to that would be he's a handsome man. Tavo, Roger looked very feminine back in the early days. Yeah, I guess he did. Yeah, fair enough. Still, that's pretty thin ice you're treading around on there, Tavo, with a young girl from her dad. That's definitely thin ice. You're a braver man than I. David Torrey, Barry Cooter, definitely rank. Chris Freeman is quickly Googling to see Helen Clark is. Here we are talking about this is the type of politics that's okay to talk about, all right, because they're long since making any policy, so I'll allow it on this occasion. Paul Fink, smoking has killed so many people in my family that that's the reason I have become so proactive about my health. After all, I live in Colorado, which is at the top of being one of the healthiest states. So there you go. Didn't know that. Was that because of the climate or what? Jeff Hutchins, I knew a woman who chewed tobacco, decent looking, but definitely a turn off for me. I've never seen a female chewing tobacco. Seen plenty of guys. I've never seen a female chewing tobacco. Well, that would be that would be terrible. Like it's To me, it really makes my stomach roll when I see guys chewing tobacco. It really does. It's just terrible. But a female doing it, that would just take it up another level. Wow. Tavo, I believe Jacinda is over here coaching our present mob. Oh, good Lord. Wow, you're dragging the barrel for coaches, aren't you? Steve Billings, mate, what's happening with the Mopar wagon? Will you bring it back to New Zealand or just for the States? That is going to be in my stable of cars for the permanently. So if we do come back to New Zealand, which is there's a pretty reasonable chance of that, as we it's probably we will retire back to New Zealand when we retire at that point, whenever that point is. And the wagon will be coming with me, no question. The wagon, the Falcon convertible, the Alpine, that'll be done, and I think that's the 3 cars we'll be taking back. My KSV 9000 will be staying stateside with my boy. That's getting handed down to him. My son's taken that. He said when that car first rolled home into the garage as a 6-cylinder, he kind of made me swear to let him have it when he was, when the time came. So when we leave the States, that'll be when the time is, and he can take ownership of it then, if he can afford to put gas in it. But by then he should be a doctor, so he can probably afford to put gas in it. So Steve, the Mopar wagon will definitely be coming back, to New Zealand with me if we go back. And same with the Alpine. That's part of the reason I've been flirting with the idea of making it right-hand drive, to make it a bit easier to drive when it does land in New Zealand, which will, eventually, I do think that'll happen, eventually. Jeff Hutchins, Paul Funk, you guys can't be that healthy. There's no oxygen up there. Paul Funk, love to be outdoors in Colorado, no humidity. Yeah, I'm not a fan of humidity. Granddad's joke, more like Alan Clark. Yeah, good point. That's what I said. He's a handsome guy. Bowfly, Jacinda looks like a biter. Had to Google it. Yeah, she had a grill on her, that's for sure. I'm sure she still does, but yeah, as our Prime Minister, it was like, whoa. 10 minutes and I've got about 1 sip of bourbon left. It's not bad. I'll sleep well enough. I won't get any more. Mexican Spec, he's back. In case you guys don't know, Tony won't be doing the Sunday lives for the foreseeable future. Oh, okay. What's that about? Just had enough of it? Steve Sadusky's asking the same question. Don't know the details. Okay. For a Mexican Spec for a second. Oh, yeah. Well, good to have you here, man. Barracuda, my daughter used to look like Mandy from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, or whatever it was called. I've never heard of that, but Vilefly got hacked? Question mark. Todd to know, I laugh when I see someone put a big pinch of snuff on their lip. They don't know how snuff is supposed to be used, and most cry like babies if they try the proper way. Mate, I have no clue what the proper way is or isn't. It's like, yeah. Because snuff and chewing tobacco is just really not a thing in New Zealand, not that I recall. Yeah. It struck me here as being a real baseball thing. It seems like all the people that play baseball chew tobacco. Paul Funk, it's true about no oxygen, but I highly recommend not to drive to the top of Pikes Peak if you're hungover. Oh, that'll be brutal, wouldn't it? I would love to have seen Pikes Peak, run before it was paved, and some of the rally cars that they took up there would have been awesome. Cross Freemess, a Mexican spec. Any thoughts about moving your Sunday stream so it's before Jamie's? Huh. Do they clash at the moment, do they? Jeff Hutchins, my oldest daughter looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Oh, I hope she's not watching. My wife was fighting with her and said, okay, Cabbage Patch. When we all thought about it for a second, she was even laughing. It was too true. Oh, good Lord. Oh, well, at least she got a good sense of humour. Volfly, be right back. Got to put the chickens up. Where are you putting them up? In the chicken house, I suppose. Barracuda, Chris F. Would you be interested in an 85 movie car on YouTube that starred Cliff Robertson and Leif Garrett and was partly filmed in Dunedin and Central Otago? Oh, what was that movie? Oh, yeah, there's some remnants of that bouncing around in my head, but I can't get a hold on it. What was that? Wow, you have to tell me what it was. It's there, but I can't retrieve it. It's bouncing around there somewhere. Todd and I, Chris, snuff is intended to be snorted up the nose. It burns your nose lining on contact. Oh, that sounds like a barrel of laughs. Yeah. Some of the weird shit we do to ourselves, really. It's quite bizarre. Jeff Hutchins, I haven't ever seen snuff except in Western movies. Yeah. Paul Funk, Pikes Peak is one of 58 peaks, 14,000 feet or higher. It's high. And that's one of the big challenges of Pikes Peaks is getting the car to run good at the bottom and getting it to run good at the top. Chris Freemess is sure, but with that cast, I'm a little nervous. Shake a Run. That's right. Yeah. I remember the name, Shake a Run. I don't really remember the movie. I can't remember the movie, but I remember the name and I remember the two characters in it. Huh. Steve Sadusky, hey Kiwi, is it true you're teaching Kev how to weld to help you out in the shop? Oh, if only. If only. Yeah, that would. Yeah, the long thin beak makes it a bit tricky. It's hard to hold the MiG pistol grip with that little miniature beak they have. Yeah, what you gonna do? Barracuda, when Dad lived in a council flat, one of his neighbours looked like the fair-haired one, Beavis and Butthead, and it was a woman. Nice. Chris Freeman, the blonde one was Beavis. Yeah, I couldn't have told you that. I never quite got Beavis and Butthead. Bits of it were funny, but I was never a huge fan of Beavis and Butthead. Right, well, it looks like everyone's running out of steam here. Granddad's Chung, when looking at some weirdos, you wish you were born blind. Oh, I don't know about that. Jeff Hutchins, Todd and I never seen it snorted just yet. I've actually seen them snorted in movies, kind of like they snort cocaine. David Torrey, fiberglass Pontiac Trans Am body on an HQ floor plan. Good Lord, really? Why would they not just get a Pontiac Trans Am? That's crazy. I know it was New Zealand, but it wasn't that hard to get American cars into the country. My future mother-in-law, Chris Freeman, my future mother-in-law was appalled that we'd sit and laugh our asses off at Beavis and Butthead. Uh, Steve Billings, mate, you must have worked on some nice stuff. Tell us what you loved working on. Um, oh gosh, that's a list. That's not one car. That's a list. One of the nicest cars I've had in the shop was that TA, that tri-power, that Barracuda Challenger. Sorry, the Challenger TA. It was about a 71 or 2, blue one that had was down a cylinder. That was one of the nicest cars that I've had through the shop. So that was, it was like working on a brand new car. It was so clean, so clean. So that was kind of nice. You do get a bit tired of cutting rust out and scraping off, 50 years worth of grunge to get at what you're trying to do. That car was just delightful. So that was certainly one of them. What was another one? An old Packard convertible. What was it? Packard Caribbean convertible. And that was a lovely old car. The hydraulic suspension and all that. The ride height adjusting and all that kind of stuff. That was a neat old car. But yeah, honestly, it's a list. It's not just certainly not just one. Obviously, some of the Mustangs I've built up, I've enjoyed. But yeah, some of the weird stuff, that Chrysler Imperial, the black one that I had not long ago, convertible. I think that was a convertible, wasn't it? Yeah. Was a really nice, not super pristine, but just a cool, very, very large cool factor, in my opinion, to it. I know some people think they're ugly, but I just think they're really cool. So yeah, there's been a few, and I really feel very, it's like any job. It becomes a job after a while, and it does. Some days it's a bit of a grind, no pun intended, and some days it just, it's like, oh, this is pretty cool. So sometimes you got to remind yourself, and it's like, I really am pretty lucky to be kind of living the dream, really. Came stateside with that back corner on my mind would be like, wow, it'd be cool to have a hot rod shop. It'd be cool to have a hot rod shop and to build some of these old American cars. And it happened, it worked out. So pretty lucky. And then this whole YouTube thing, pretty wild for me. It's pretty crazy, like that 30,000 subscribers now. 30,000 people want to look and see what I'm doing. We passed, and it's a total, of 3 million. I think we're close to 3.5 million views altogether for the lifetime of the channel. Which is, there's some people have got 3.5 million subscribers, let alone views. The views are like just off the clock. And I'm not aspiring to be that. But yeah, the 3.5, I've been looked at on YouTube 3.5 million times. Is like, it doesn't compute really. It's like, no, that can't be right. But it is. So yeah, feel pretty lucky. Todd and I, when I used to do Rendezvous historic reenactments, several of us used snuff. I was funny watching big tough guys crying from it. Good Lord. Barracuda, yes, Shaker Run, and someone has just posted a nice clear version of it on YouTube. Oh, wow. Chris Freemish, I'll check it out. Right. Oh, Todd meant it was funny. Yeah, I figured that's what you meant. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins. Anyone ever seen Tony Beats' wife on Gold Rush TV show? I think her name is Minnie. She looks exactly like the Burgermeister Burger on Santa Claus is Coming to Town that plays on TV at Christmas. Yeah, she's not a pretty woman. Me and the wife used to watch that show, and yeah, she's not an overly pretty woman. Mind you, Tony Beats is no oil painting either, but he's worth a lot of money. So that always makes a man more attractive. You know, the size of his wallet has a big bearing on their appeal to the opposite sex. Todd denied. Jeff used to have examples of each one on hand at rendezvous. Smoking snuff leaf and plug, which was pressed block of tobacco, coated with molasses to hold it together. Plug nickel originated. Good Lord. I've never even heard of that stuff. Barracuda. George Peppard was so impressed with Queenstown he bought a house there. There's a few stars that have got houses in Queenstown. Queenstown's a beautiful part of the world. It's really a beautiful part of the world. Fly clings to cola for caffeine content. Right, well, guys, it's 9:03. I need to go and have a shower and try and wash some of this carbon fibre off. That's annoying the shit out of me. I did wear a respirator today, so I wouldn't, have itchy lungs. So that was a good thing, but it doesn't stop it getting on your skin, especially your arms when you're working and stuff. And it's too hot to be wearing taped up long sleeves. Although that might have been a good idea. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm hitting the shower, try and stop itching. But yeah, fiberglass by any other name. Yeah, well, carbon fibers, trust me, it feels exactly the frickin' same. Now, yeah, so enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you, Mr. Freemason. All right, guys. I will see you next Tuesday. Have a good week. Do some work on your hot rods, even if it is a Chrysler or a Beetle or a LeBaron or whatever it might be. They're all hot rods. Doesn't matter. And I will see you next week. Have a good one. Look after yourselves. Take care. See you, guys.